Yonkers, New York. I like Good to be here. My name is Terry. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Andy, for inviting me here. I'm trying to figure out how to change your nickname from ADD to something else right now. That's my boy, man. He's awesome. Um, I have a sobriety day. Miracle happened on that day. It's June 1st, 2019. Best way I describe that miracle is that the gift of desperation screamed louder than the obsession. I didn't quit. I was separated from alcohol. I was released from alcohol. Right. Actually, I was separated when I was drinking, and it was just crazy. Which was, yeah, I'll get into that for a little bit. I have a home group. It's Outright Mental Defectives. We meet today, every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's a speaker meeting, 50 minutes. The speaker will share on whatever they want to share on from that morning meditation. And then we'll have 20 minutes of Q&A. I have an amazing speaker today, Kurt Z from California. I got Mike D, I got Scott L, I got Ralph W, all those cats coming. So I highly recommend you swing by and check us out. I'll put the digits in the chat afterwards. I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk today because I've been here before, and that means I got to talk about something new. Damn it! So the first thing I could think about was being a beginner. So I really want to just talk about my first year in recovery, and it was a wild ride. Welcome to the show, everyone. That's the little guy. You'll hear him a couple times. The day I was separated, I remember that day specifically. I was drinking that day, and I snuck into my mom's house, and I knew that I had a Bach trumpet, a sterling silver Bach trumpet in her house. And I broke into her house, stole my trumpet because it belonged to me. And I bring it down to the Bronx. I only got $40 for it. And I got a flask, and I also got some dry goods, some ski equipment. Guys, give you guys an idea what a ski equipment is. It's a little white substance that you use when in the middle of June. So I remember after that, I was in my car, and I said I was done. And I remember that day specifically. And I was separated I was separated. I was released that day. I decided to check myself into a rehab in Brooklyn, New York. I was with my sponsor, who was with me every step of the way, even though I was drinking. He was with me. He knew I was drinking. It was funny. I remember I was at the meeting. He's like, you know what the difference between everybody and you in the meeting is, Terry? I'm like, what is that? He's like, everyone in the meeting's sober and you're not. So if you're drinking in a meeting, welcome. Welcome here. You know, don't keep coming back, stay. Do what we do, guys. It's not a program for people who want it. It's not a program for people who need it. It's a program for people who do it. And all I had to do was go into this treatment. So, because I had to physically be separated from alcohol, I didn't trust myself anymore. Even though I said I was done, our book talks about we need, what is it called? I forgot the exact words, but we need physical rehabilitation. It's pertinent. It's like mandatory. I needed to detox, or it could be life-threatening for people, right? So it was my mom and my dad, and they were divorced. They were in the same car, and my sponsor, and they're driving me from Mamaroneck down to Brooklyn, New York, in Red Hook. And I walk into this rehab, and it was my first day there. And I remember they were doing a check on me, and they asked me when was the last time I drank. They just took my blood work and took my test, and I said, "Oh, last week." And they were like, "You sure about that?" And I was like, "Okay, yesterday." And then they turned the lights on and off. It was like a weird moment in my life. I guess they were trying to make me have a bright light experience. That wasn't it, but it was pretty eye-opening that it was okay for me to tell the truth. You know, I lived a life of rigorous dishonesty my entire I don't know, from the day that I could remember, I've always was so uncomfortable living in my own skin. So I try to live a double life, and I try to just be dishonest with you because I wanted you to like me, right? That's what I was trying to do my entire life. Or I was ashamed of who I was. I was ashamed I was an alcoholic. I was ashamed I had issues with other substances. I didn't want you to know the true, authentic self inside, and I didn't even know what that meant, you know? So I'm in this rehab, and I'm in detox, and the first 5 days of convalescing is tough. I give kudos to people who get sober on Zoom. I've seen them do it. I've seen miracles happen on Zoom where people stick on for 24 hours on Zoom and they stayed sober. I couldn't believe it until I saw it myself. I had to be physically put into a room and separated. I don't know how that's possible, but anything is possible with God on your side. And not believing in myself no more was the main ability. I remember they asked me, "What do you hope to get out of here?" And I told them I no longer want to be the actor. I no longer want to run the show. I remember sitting in that desk and talking to the other person, and I weighed 135. To give you an idea, I weigh 170 now. I was dirt. I haven't showered in months. I was living in my car, right? I was shaving my own head. I had that weird like mullet going in the back. It was like the peach fuzz was going crazy. So I kind of had a fro on the side of my neck. It was crazy. I was burnt up. I was sore. I was done. I was badly mangled when I came in there. And it was funny. They thought my mom was peddling dry goods to me. I forgot about this. So I peed that white substance for 17 days, consecutive days. I thought I was gonna beat the World Guinness Book of World Records. I thought I was so proud of it. Like, yeah. And then the counselor's like, Terry, that's not something you want to be proud of. They thought I was my mom was peddling it. I'm like, she's the one that made me go to 4 rehabs when I was in high school. I highly doubt that. So I think it was about like maybe 5 to 6 days I'm in, and I feel better. I feel better, look better, act better, physically up. I can walk around. I know I got this. I got this. You guys ever say that? I got this. Or I need a job. Anyone say that in rehab? I need a job. I need a job. Everybody loves the job in the first month of recovery. I need a job. I need to get out of here. I remember I called up my mom. I told her I'm ready to come home. And she's like, no, you need to stay there. You're safe and protected. And I actually just wanted to go home and drink. Right. I thought I thought I could control the situation, per se. And I remember I was with talking to my mom in the mirror, and I'm like this, and I'm kind of shaking at the same time. And you know what? I was like, hey, mom, I'm lying. I just want to come home and drink. I'll stay. And my mom actually had me. There you go, guys. I got my little pouches ready just in case it goes crazy. I remember my mom made me write a promise to her that I would stay in that rehab to the day that I get out, 30 days. And I wrote that promise. And by the way, that promise was fulfilled on July 1st, I believe. Yeah, my birthday's on June 30th. So I had to stay in that rehab on my 33rd birthday. And I made the promise that I would. And after I talked to my mom, I got on my knees and I abandoned myself utterly to God in that moment. I was doing that before, but there's something happened in that moment that was electric. I can't describe it. It was like smoke. I felt like I was lifted up. I mean, Bill talks about it in his story, right on page 14. I felt lifted up, like a great clean wind blew through and through. It was like going from a cold room to a hot room, right? There was a sense of victory that like the battle was over, everyone. Like the battle was over. There was no more fighting for me anymore. right? I mean, it was utter confidence. It was not me and being cocky. It was more like I'm in the presence of a power greater than myself. I am supposed to feel confident. Something was there. My I I went the doctor, he says I went to the doctor to see if I was sane. I mean, I was walking to people telling people I found God. They're like, who's this cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kid? Like, what is up with him? And the bill says it. I went to the doctor to see if I was sane. What happened? His old mind was gone. The ego was gone. Something happened in that moment. I can't describe. I took a psychological test the next day. I scored under 10% on my anxiety level. I mean, I had restless leg syndrome 5 days ago. I was going like this. I couldn't stop moving. Something happened. And I look back at my life, and I've gone on my knees multiple times and never felt anything like that in my entire life. And I looked at that moment, and I saw that when I told my mom the truth, that I said, I just wanted to come home and drink. I was finally honest with someone in my life. And I decided to make a decision to put my will in my life into this care of this rehab, and to these people I have no idea. Right? If God is everything, that means God is everything. I'm putting my care into this stuff, no longer to me. And I got honest in that moment. Something happened. And if you're new here, that's what we do in this program. This is a program of subtraction. This is getting me out of the way so that I could be useful to you and God's kids. You guys ever hear this is a selfish program? It's not. It's an altruistic program. It's helping others so I can get out of this way so God can work his magic program. That's what this program is literally all about. I got out of the way just a little bit, and God worked in through me. And I can't explain that experience, but it was fleeting. I do want to say, everyone, a spiritual experience has an expiration date. I have to grow and maintain a spiritual experience. They asked me to go to this rehab in Minnesota, and I said, no. Nope. I ain't going out there. Were there cows out there? I don't know anything about the Midwest. I've never been there. I was told about 2 days prior, and I highly recommend, if you're new, I recommend trying this out to do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do. And someone suggested that to me 2 days prior. I'll give you an idea what that means. I don't feel like going to a meeting. Go to a meeting. Do the opposite. I don't feel like calling my sponsor. Call your sponsor. I don't feel like writing an inventory. Write inventory. I don't feel like making those scary amends. Go make those scary amends. I don't feel like listening to a fifth step on Super Bowl Sunday. Go listen to that fifth step on Super Bowl Sunday. Go do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do and watch your life change. So I was being transported from New York to Minnesota, and in between that, I was with my sponsor. He came to give me a ride with a couple other people. I just found out recently that person who helped give me a ride, he passed away because of this stuff. Yeah, this stuff is real, guys. We feel good today, but I'm up against something that is constant. Am I convinced I'm in a progressive illness that I get worse, never better over a period of time? Am I convinced of that? Yeah, I'm convinced in the beginning when I got a good butt whooping, but then I become unconvinced when life gets good. I don't need you. I don't need to do meetings. I don't need to write inventory. I don't need to do a 10 step. I don't need to pause, watch, ask, discuss. I don't need to do any of that. If I stop doing the work, something's gonna come in and say, you know what, Terry, it'd be okay to drink a little beer or whatever. I said on day one that I was in the rehab that I was done drinking for good and forever. I said I will die sober. Who said that? Who said they will die sober? Hopefully, I'm not the only person here. I said I would die sober on June 1st. And from June 2nd, June 1st to June 2nd, when I went from the rehab to the airport, I went to a diner with my friends and we're eating there. And afterwards, they walk outside. I went to go use the bathroom and I walked by the bar. and I see an ice cold Corona. And I'm like, whoa, there's the love of my life. The strange mental blank spots, everyone. I mean, think about it in Bill's story. I mean, Bill's story talks about he walked into a bar to telephone a friend, and all of a sudden he's drinking. He's like, "Oh, how did I end up here?" like, like what happened? Well, let's look at that. This guy, Billy, walked into a bar to call someone. So he's walking. He made a right to the bar at one point, probably waiting for the bartender for maybe at least a minute. A minute's a long time, guys. Or 2 minutes. That's really long. Then the bartender comes, what would you like? You order the drink, and then Billy's waiting for his drink to be made. Could be a whiskey, could be a beer, whatever. Then he gets his drink, takes one, takes another, orders another, and then at the fourth, he's like, hold on, how did I end up here? That's a strange mental blank spot, guys. My step one experience tells me I can't drink. It's telling me I'm going to drink. Right? My sound reason is not going to hold me in check. That my insane idea will win out if I have no defense. And I had no defense at that time, a higher power, but I did. There were people that I was with from the fellowship at that diner who were waiting for me outside. Thank God for the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. I would have drank that Corona. And 30 days prior, remember that, I said, I'm done forever. It didn't even occur to me what happened. So I go to Minnesota. And man, it was an experience within itself. This guy picks me up at the airport, and I'm talking with him, and I'm like, man, he's got such a sweet gig, man. Like, how much is he getting paid for right now? I could do this, right? He was just doing service. I don't know why my thumb keep going up. Why not? Thumbs up, everyone. And he was just doing service. He was doing this for fun and for free. I was being introduced to the authentic program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was being introduced to the real program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Right? I love it. I love how Alcoholics Anonymous is making a comeback in AA. I really do. And then, long story short, this guy drops me off of this rehab, and I was introduced to the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And everyone, I do not want to open the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know why? Because I thought it was too big. Anyone who does not want to pick it up, I completely relate to that. I'm in Minnesota, guys. I took a one-way ticket out here. Do the opposite of whatever I don't want to do. I opened up that book, and it's the first thing I saw. It says there's a solution. That's the first page I looked at. If you're new here, you're struggling, or if you have time and you're in the bedevilments, or if you don't even know if you're in the last 30 days of recovery, we have a way out, everyone. We have a way up and we have a way out, right? And I started looking at this book, and there's certain pages of the book, and I don't have it with me, but there's certain pages that just hooks me. The Real Alcoholic on page 20 and 21. It just described me to the T, a Jekyll and Hyde, dangerously antisocial, searching madly for the bottle every single morning. I mean, I'm looking at myself in the mirror with this book. Another page 60, an actor who wants to run the whole show, is forever arranging the lights, the ballet, the scenery. That was me. How I have a script for everybody in my life, but I don't send them the script. And when they go off script, I get hurt, I get angry, hurt, threatened, and interfered with all the time. I'm constantly trying to be a self-seeker to get what I want. I'm constantly disturbed because I'm disturbable. I am constantly offended because I'm offendable. I'm constantly under complete distress because my mind is constantly messed with. There's God of reason, and we agnostics, another one. I was a worshiper my whole life, everybody. I worshiped the God of reason. I worshiped my mind. Oh, you don't believe in God? Yeah, you did. I believed in alcohol. Who believed in King Alcohol? I did. Who bent over backwards for King Alcohol? I did. Who told if King Alcohol told me to roll over like a little dog, I would do it. If King Alcohol told me to rough like a little puppy, woof, 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 I would rough like a little puppy. I would do whatever it takes to get alcohol. It was my master. I always believed in something. I've always have. And when I was reading We Agnostics with my sponsor, I guess I'm going to tell it. Why not? This was in the first year. I was reading We Agnostics with my sponsor, and we get to the point in 53 where God is everything and God is nothing. And my sponsor leaned over. He's like, Terry, can you explain God? And I was like, yeah, yes, I can. That's what I said to him. Ha ha, yeah, I can. And I'm like, God is love. This is what I said. God is love. Go to direction. Group of drunks. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm getting tongue tied while I'm talking. And my sponsor's like, come here, Terry. Come here, buddy. It's pretty hard to explain everything, man. Because God is everything and everything's God and you're not God. And right then and there, I was rocking it right into the fourth dimension of existence I couldn't even dream. God can't be explained, but he could be experienced, everyone. God can't be explained, but he could be experienced. I mean, I could run out of prestige. I could run out of power. I could even run out of gas while I'm driving, but I could never run out of God. When I got out of rehab, guys, I had nothing. I'm going to say that one more time. I had nothing. What is your choice to be? Is God everything or else he's nothing? God is everything. Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's rock and roll. Right, Natasha? Right, JC? Let's rock and roll. You're going to hit a moment in your life, in sobriety too, where you have nothing. Ask yourself, is God everything or else he's nothing? God is everything. Let's go. There's a spiritual exercise in there as well. If God is everything, that also means he's in the nothing. So go find God in everything. Go seek God in everything. Go seek God while you're driving. Go seek God while you're doing the dishes. And I hate doing the dishes. Rodney, I cannot stand doing the dishes. I can't stand doing the dishes. Go find God while I'm doing the dishes. Go find God while I'm on Zoom. Go find God while I'm hanging out with my kid. Go find God and watch him show up. And you'll find out that he's always been inside you the entire time. Talks about it on page 55, yet we've seen another kind of flight, a spiritual liberation from this world. People who rose above their problems. JC, you don't need to look up the page, buddy. Just kidding. They said God made that possible, JC, and we only laughed. Ha, 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 ha. Or laughed or smiled, I forgot. Right? We have seen spiritual release inside. It's not outside coming in, it's inside everyone. I've seen spiritual release, but like to tell ourselves it wasn't so. Guys, the great reality is within you. God is deep down with every man, woman, and child. You know that little, my son, he's playing right now. He's not thinking about money. He's not thinking about girls. He's not thinking about college. He has a constant connection with the power greater than himself. That's what we're doing. We're going back to that state, the land of milk and honey, the fourth dimension, right here, right now, living from moment to moment to moment to moment basis. God can't be explained, but he could be experienced. Let me ask you a question. Natasha, what does a rose smell like? Smells like a rose, right? Pretty clear, right? Right. Bob, what does a rose smell like? I think your answer is pretty much smells like a rose. Rodney, what does a rose smell like? I can't explain it. I can only experience it. This is all about an acquisition of power, everybody. You know, the big book is not the treasure. It's not. It's a map. It's a map to this power, which will help you live and live happy. It's funny. I remember I was when I got out of rehab, I went into sober living, and they had people come in from sober living, give them a pitch, and they're like, anyone interested in sober living, and no one would have their hands raised up except for who? Except for me. I took a one-way ticket out here. I need a place to live, right? Who's willing to do whatever it takes? right? And I remember going to the sober living, and I went to the Mall of America. This is funny. And I was reading We Agnostic, God is everything and God is nothing during this time. Because the people who the sponsor, this place is beautiful. I mean, it's a non-clinical place called the Retreat. No insurance. Everybody there's only 4 people on staff, and whoever's coming in is doing 12-step work. So I'm working with my sponsor actually in the rehab. They could come and go at any time. Pretty cool. And I was reading We Agnostics, and I remember I was online at Chick-fil-A, and I'm walking up to the counter, and I'm like, "Wow, they're so damn happy. Why are you so happy?" I look silent. Why are you so happy right now? Right? And I have an old idea, a belief system that if you work for a fast food restaurant, you're a bum, right? I know what real work is. That means working at a desk, making money, bank, boom, 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 money, 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 cash money, yo. that was my belief system. If you didn't have a good job, you were lower than me. That was me. And I'm looking at these cats, and I'm like, man, you guys are just, why are you so happy? And then it hit me in that moment, everyone. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, bam, right? Here's the little guy, you see him? Hey, buddy. Drive for success is on, man. It hit me right in that moment. It literally smacked me in the face that they had God in their life and I did not, because it's a Christian-based company, right? They had a sense of purpose in their life, and I did not. They had a sense of stability in their life, and I did not. It even talks about on page 52, when we saw others solve their problems with a simple reliance upon the spirit of the universe, I had to stop doubting the power of God. My ideas, my grand ideas, my wonderful ideas did not work, but the God idea did. I mean, that was so funny. I remember so fascinated why millionaires in Minnesota were driving school buses. I was just like fascinated, but I'm like, now I know why. Today I deliver pizzas, everyone. I deliver joy wherever I go. I delivered happiness wherever I go. It's my job as an agent of God is to cheer people up. That's my role. That's the role I play. I don't care how much money I make today. I get it. If you're chilling on your deathbed, you're gonna be thinking about how much money is in your bank account. You got 2 days to live. You're gonna be thinking about how much money is in your bank account. No, you can be thinking about all your diplomas on your wall. Just look at your diplomas, like, oh man, that's amazing. No, you be thinking about the relationships in your life, the experiences you had in your life. So I remember I got a job. Remember, get a job, get a job. Yeah, that was another. That was one. I got a job. I got a job 6 days out of rehab. And I'm interviewing at LA Fitness. I used to work in the gym business for a long time. And I passed the first interview. They asked me to come back. And I'm with the vice president of the Minnesota chapter, whatever. And I'm sitting down with this guy, and he asked me a question, Natasha. Check this out. He asked me, why'd you move from New York to Minnesota? And I was like, oh shit, I'm trying to live a life of rigorous honesty. F that. All right, cost of living. That's what I said. 5 minutes, that's it? Okay, damn. Okay, I'll speed it up. Cost of living. And he's like, well, let me tell you a little about myself. Blah, blah, blah. He stated his name. I'm a recovered alcoholic and a recovered meth addict. I've been in recovery for 7 years. I've been with LA Fitness for this. I'm like, hold on, you're in recovery? Hold on, time out. You're in recovery? I'm in recovery too. How'd you know that I was in recovery? He's like, not many people move from New York to Minnesota, buddy. And I was amazed at that, man. I mean, it was wonderful. Yeah. And then I'm with guys, I'm in sober house. Guys, I'll tell you right now, the fellowship, there's a club within the club, you know. It really is. The fellowship of the Spirit. I mean, being wrecked in the same vessel and restored and united under one God with hearts and minds attuned to the welfare of others. I'm with my other roommates, and we had a gang, a sober gang, everyone. We called ourselves the Hawks, right? We fight crime by fighting alcoholism. We fight crime by fighting addiction. We fight crime by allowing God to fight our selfishness and self-centeredness. Man, I wanted to stand outside liquor stores and smack people up with big books. And my roommate, and I miss him. I haven't spoke to him in about a year. He won't answer my call. Just pray for him. He keeps relapsing. My roommate came over. He's like, Terry, this is a program of attraction, not promotion. Let me tell you about this little book called AA Comes of Age and why we have the traditions in place. Right? If you guys truly want to understand the traditions, learn about the history of the traditions. Learn about all the mistakes we made. Right? There was a baseball player, a famous baseball player, who got sober through AA, right? And was on the media shouting the AA's good name. And then the guy got drunk again. And then everyone's like, AA doesn't work. You know? That's why I don't talk at the level of press, radio, and film. I'm an advocate of the traditions. I am totally for it, but I won't share at you like some tradition people. When you break a tradition, they share at you. There's multiple things that happen in recovery. Is that the alcoholic ego will take on a different face. A phenomenon happens, and what happens is my ego can become extremely spiritual really quick. Mr. AA, Mr. Convention Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, right? Don't you know who I am? And when people don't do what I tell them to do, I'm constantly trying to interfere with, especially with the traditions, right? The upholder of the traditions, another guy that I had to get off stage with that. I had to give that stage character over to God because it was killing me. Now, when I see people who break the traditions, I just have a conversation with them one-on-one, and I explain the history of why we have the traditions in place. So I got what, 2 minutes now? Oh man. I'm only in 6 months now, man. I got another 6 months to go. All right, I'll finish it up. I moved back to New York. I got back with my wife, which was a miracle in itself. She's an Al-Anon. She does a great 10-step. Whenever I'm wrong, she promptly admits it. Whenever I'm wrong, she promptly admits it real quick. You know, and you know, I was balking on the work when I came back. I didn't want to make amends. I was telling people I'm on steps 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm not doing anything. I didn't even know what step 10 was. I guess another hour I could talk about with step 10. And I got to the point when you got unfinished amends, it's like driving with a car with a flat tire and hoping and wishing that flat tire goes away. I hope you go away, buddy. One day your car's gonna spin out and you're gonna crash, and that's what happened to me. I remember I was sitting at a traffic light looking to make a left to go to a bar and make a right to go to a meeting. That's where I was. I was 9 months sober at this time. Called my sponsor. He's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about drinking. I'm dreaming about it. It's whispering in my ear, blah blah blah." He's like, "Did you make your amends?" I'm like, "No, I didn't make my amends." Like, how do you know I'm not making my amends? What are you, Baby Yoda over there? Like, what's up with you, bro? What are you drinking, man? He's like, maybe you need to make your amends. And then I called this guy who I thought was an enemy in my mind, and he picked up the phone. He said, "Hey Terry, where you been? I miss you and I love you." You know, I was expecting the conversation to go this way, that way. It didn't. Why? Because the story and the narrative in my head will try and get me to not do this stuff because it's scary. Do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do. You know, something's got to die. That means death of self. The alcoholic ego is going to die and you're going to be reborn. When I was rocking into the fourth dimension, I found out the 2 most important dates in my life. It's not my sobriety date. My sobriety date just measured how much time I have. It was the day I was born, the day I found out why, and the day I found out why to fit myself to be a maximum service to God and the people around me. Oh, let's rock and roll with these amends now. This is where the action's at. This is where the juice is at, baby. Oh, I don't know why I was so scared. This is the good stuff here. And I start making these approaches, everybody. Rodney, I start making these approaches. I have finished amends today. What does finished amends mean? I've made every single approach to my amends. And I need steps 10, 11, and 12 to make sure I have an acquisition of power to make every single one of my amends. Because me on my own power, I'm going to balk. Me on my own power, I'm going to balk. And I'm making these amends, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. I'm not thinking about drinking. It's not whispering in my ear. I'm not even fantasizing about drinking anymore. The obsession was relieved. I suddenly realized, suddenly is a time frame. I suddenly realized right here, right now, that God was doing for me what I could never do for myself. Right. And the obsession has left and it has never come back. And that does not mean that I am cured. It means I have a daily reprieve contingent upon the maintenance of my spiritual condition. It means I got work to do. And when you do this work, everyone, you catch the grace of God a day at a time. And when you catch the grace of God, you're transformed and recreated on a daily basis. I'm not the same person I was a month ago. I'm not even the same person I was yesterday. Right? You're looking at a miracle. I believe in miracles because I am a miracle. I hope I had more time. Maybe I could come back and talk about the rest of the 6 months. There was a lot of other stuff that happened there. But my name is Terry. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Looking forward to your shares. And last but not least, pew, 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 pew.